Hello. Despite the fact that I'm covered in tattoos and I look like a social misfit, even though I'm not, I'm actually very intelligent and, more importantly, that very wise. I know I'm fat, bald, and ugly and all that other stuff. I don't have the best personality in the world, and I don't have the face made for video. But I've had countless thousands of people tell me throughout the decades, you should be a teacher. Well, teacher's job is stressful, and it's like the worst paying job in the world. And I'm not trying to get rich in this life. I'm not. I'm just trying to survive. But with all these kids actually staying at home, and even Kentucky, the kids are staying at home because, it's like the governor of this state, and it's happening in other states. Oh, there's too many cooties, we can't have the kids. And I'm not going to discuss what's going on in the world right now, but with kids staying home, I mentioned this in the prior video, they're likely to turn out more intelligent and certainly so wiser than if they had gone to school. Let's talk about the second leading cause of misfit children, or emotional and behavioral disorders in children, and talk about a better educational system. A lot of people are trying to homeschool their kids, and they're worried about countless factors and endless things that are going on in the world. And I could give you some simple steps that are undeniably 100% flat out, no argumentation, will make your kids more intelligent, most importantly, more wise than any of the kids up and down the block. And it involves several things. And I go into this deeper. I don't want to develop a formal syllabus. But the reason why kids today are so maladjusted and messed up, and they're popping mood pills, and I see kids, they're just messed up hardcore. I have nothing against homework, but kids that are turned into jarheads and told by their teachers, whether they go to a fancy, expensive school, whether they go to public school, go home and memorize chapters 5 through 10, and we're going to have a multiple. They spend their entire lives stressing out about regurgitating useless information. And as I also too mentioned in the prior video, that's as stupid as like a fat person like me thinking they're going to get exercise by watching, buff, muscular people work out in the gym on the television set. When you have people memorize and regurgitate crap information, they're not learning anything, they're not exercising the brain between their ears, their mind is turned into mush, and they develop emotional disorders and countless other things. I'm all for homeschooling. Public schools are absolute crap. Some are way better than others, but they're all crap. And even the expensive schools are total crap, even if they have the best teachers. Because the best teachers still want to indoctrinate and spoon-fed their children, the children that they're given to teach useless information, diatribe, garbage in, garbage out. I'm all against gaming. I don't know, I guess I got the body of a gamer, but the one game, and it's not really a game, it's a process of mental machination for thinking several steps ahead, is every child should grow up learning chess. Even if they're an only child and they live out in the countryside, you could download countless free chess programs, or if they pay like $3 for a chess app, have your kid play against the computer. They'll learn how to think several steps ahead. That is really, really very, very important. Another thing that a kid should have is like a $50 microscope. Get a used one off of eBay. Not those plastic microscopes they sell. They're junk made in China for teaching kids. No, get a real microscope. A beat up, half rusty one. Beat up, half rusty one with variable diopters like 10 power, 50 power, 100 power. You can get a used one cheap. Your kid will learn more with a magnifying glass and a microscope in his, on his desk, digging up worms and various things in the backyard than he ever will from going to school. You need to teach your kid. Now, back in the day, 16th, 15th, 14th century, 17th century was basically the last things kind of changed in the world. If you were a rich person and you wanted the best education for your kid, you know what they were taught? They were taught Plato, the works of Plato, and they were spoon-fed, or they're made to read and think about, discuss, not just regurgitate. It's not about testing kids. They actually have to read it and know that it would develop their mind. I'm not a big fan of Aristotle, but the Aristotelian scientific method, all science started from the Pythagoreans and the Platonists, and the Aristotelian methodology and dialectic and scientific method of the Platonists and the Neoplatonists. Have your kid read Plotinus. Depends on their age, what they're actually able to read. They might not be able to read Plotinus yet, like Proclus, Numenius, Syrianus, Iamblichus. But by reading that, your kid will blow the hell out of every other kid up and down the block for miles and miles in both directions. That's not my opinion, it's a fact. By teaching your kid, and I don't mean indoctrination, like go learn this stuff, by actually having them exercise the muscle between their brain, they will actually have true education, not indoctrination. They will be able to spontaneously generate problem-solving capabilities. And kids in public school and even fancy private schools, they cannot do that. Well, they can to a much, much lesser degree. 9 times out of 10, unless they're very, very gifted. You could take literally the least gifted kid and by homeschooling and teaching them the correct stuff, they could learn to be way more analytical, intelligent, wise above all else than a smart, highly capable person that goes to private school and to Yale. And that's not my opinion, that's a fact. The reason why these kids, and I'm not against homework, well, I mostly am. The kids are stressed out. And I'm not saying be lax on them, but go home and read all this crap and regurgitate garbage. And kids, and I was and you were also, you were taught so much useless crap. If you asked your teacher, on trigonometry, and I'm not against trigonometry, am I ever going to use this in life? No, you're not. Why am I learning this? Life is short. Why am I learning this useless? Do you remember trig? Do you remember? No, you don't. If you do, it might have been how ugly or pretty the teacher was, and that was probably it. Life should not be wasted learning crap that is irrelevant to problem solving. Unless you're going to become a, work for JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, I'm sorry, but you don't need to be taking advanced calculus and trigonometry. You don't! It has no bearing in your damn life, nor your children. It just does not. If that is their passion and they're really good at it, then feed their passion. Otherwise, you're just going to piss their life away learning useless garbage that they're going to forget very, very shortly afterward. That's not a full life. Kids are stressing out about learning, regurgitating garbage that's not going to help them in this life at all. It's just going to waste their time. Their kids are supposed to learn how to problem solve and engage in spontaneous thought genesis of nonlinear analytical analysis of how things work, understanding the nature of the cosmos and the nature. There's literally about, and I could write them out, I kid you not, I could write a little article about 1,000 rules that need to be learned in life such that it would guide and help you in every facet of life. Also, too, kids are not taught about money. And I'm not a person that dwells on money at all, other than paying the bills. Kids are taught that they should get a good job, go to college, get a good job, and make money. Well, that's not it. You're supposed to make money work for you. This is what everybody is taught in school, whether it be private or public or expensive. You're taught how to make money. I'm going to gather this money and this money and this money, and later in life, when I'm dying, I'm going to spend it on. No, you're supposed to be making your money work for you. I haven't actually been practicing as much as I preach on that front lately, but I've done a lot more of it than most people have in life, and I should have more actively involved myself in the stock market or in flipping of land. I actually know a decent amount about land flipping. I've done it in the distant past. I should have stuck to that, actually, and I'd be a lot better off in life instead of working 6 or 7 days a week. But I enjoy the time I have for generating unique thought and writing articles and thinking about really abstruse principles of nature and field mechanics and whatnot. And other people just don't have that. So there's different types of wealth. Time is a wealth of its own, and I like having time to be able to think and figure things out. But your kid has the potential for a lot more, and by sending them to school, whether it be private or public, I don't care if they've got the best teachers there. Those teachers, all they do is it's just a slightly more advanced form of indoctrination and filling your kid's head with useless garbage. that is not relevant to higher thought, to dialectic thought genesis. No one's ever taught retroduction. It's a completely lost art. It's the most important principle of the Pythagoreans, the Platonists, and to a lesser degree even the Aristotelians. No one's taught that stuff in college, whether it be Yale or Harvard, and certainly not taught anywhere in today. It's completely lost. I'm going to write a book about it starting late in August, even though I'm so damn busy. It is better that your child learn how to problem solve and spontaneously generate logical thought analysis than he is to regurgitate useless facts, because all that does is it makes for a flaccid brain. You have to exercise your brain, and kids could spend 7 days a week in school, memorizing garbage, study, memorize. They're not going to be anything other than useless automatons with their heads filled with useless facts. They can't do anything. They're basically nothing other than growing children that are no better than a diapered baby. The baby just drools on itself and sits there in its own poo. That's all they are. Like, they know a lot. That's why insane asylums are full of very intelligent people, quite often. The reason why they're insane asylums is because they've gone mad. They're nuts. They can't think coherently. They're basically adult children. They might know a lot of stuff, a lot of empirical facts. They're very intelligent, but they have no wisdom. They can't think clearly. Their brain has been turned to jello. They might have... I knew one kid, he ended up in a nut house. I don't know whatever happened to him. That dude memorized everything he could get a hold of. I mean, he knew a lot, but he had no wisdom, and he didn't know how to generate spontaneous thought genesis for problem solving. He was useless. Your iPhone, your Android is useless. I mean, you could find all the empirical answers to all the mundane information in the world at the touch of your iPhone. But, I mean, your iPhone is useless. I mean, it can't even charge itself. It's just a useless POS. And that's what kids are being turned into. Go home and memorize this crap. We got a test this weekend. Next week, we're going to memorize more useless crap. That's not important to you having a full, healthy life where you're exercising your brain. If teaching paid enough, I would be a teacher. I would be a better teacher. I'm not saying this egotistic. I'd be a way better teacher than you would ever find in the land. I would actually teach people how to think. I would exercise their brains. I really would. I need physical exercise. I've been exercising my brain plenty. My brain is like a supermassive bodybuilder. My real body, my physical body, of course, looks like crap. This is undeniable. But that's because I spend so much time plucked behind sitting behind the computer, helping people. I'm the guy that got the answers on a lot of stuff, and people are always picking my brain. But unfortunately, that makes me broke as hell because I'm like working 7 days a week to help other people. I'm just a little too nice. I'm always helping other people rather than myself. And that's both good and bad. It's got a big upside and it's got a big downside. But anyway, I just had to talk about this topic because it's actually so important. Even if you hate this video. Thank you so much. Have a good day.